Wait, now. Oh,
We're ready.
we're back.
We're ready. We're ready for the 20th episode.
Is this 20?
I think this is 20.
Because the other one failed to appear.
Right. I believe so.
So a redo on 20.
Yeah. I guess we should talk about that too.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really talk about any of those albums because we did, but then the
My
government
computer.
stole our audio.
Yeah.
The audio was too questionable because we argued too much about how bad that 30 Seconds to Mars album was. Mostly just me telling you that your favorite song was the worst one on the album.
It was so good.
We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I guess we can recap those albums, and then we got some exciting stuff. Talk a little bit about Salt Lake Comic-Con, which we attended last week? Last week.
Yeah.
It's been a long week. And then Doja Cat's album.
Doja.
Listen to that Scarlet album. I braved having to sit while looking at that album cover for an entire hour.
Yeah.
And that was too much.
Yeah.
But anyways, we had an episode scheduled for last week where we were talking about Magic 3 by Nas, 30 Seconds to Mars, It's a Beautiful Day, but it's the End of the World, This is a Beautiful Day, I believe is the full title. And Vic Mensa's self-titled Victor album. I think in general our thoughts were pretty, like, they were all pretty good. Like, right. I don't think I'd put any of those albums in like the best albums of the year, but I definitely got some songs out of all of them that I enjoyed.
Yeah, I said that the 30 Seconds to Mars was probably one of my most enjoyable listens of the year, but definitely not, like, probably not even top 10. Victor had quite a few good songs, one that a project that I'll listen through again. And then with Nas, talked about how cool it is that he's still relevant and still making, not just relevant, but like still doing really well in hip-hop scene.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, the album that I was most impressed with was probably the Nas album. And kind of like you're saying, it's just because the longevity of it.
Right.
Like, you put in perspective, the man's been on a 6-album run with Hit Boy in the last 3 years. Most artists that we consider like all-time artists don't even have 6 great albums in their catalog. No. And so for me, listening through it, even though I think it's a much weaker release than like I'd say Magic 1's better. I think most of the King's Disease series is better, but like still the fact that he's put out this many good albums in this amount of time and that he just has so much left in the tank has made him one of, like, it's catapulted him into my GOAT debate for rappers. And I love that he kind of showed with this album and with everything he's put out recently that there's a place for that old school sound and style in the modern rap by working with a modern producer like Hit Boy. And just coming up with a lot of great original concepts, putting things together in a really cool way. And so, but like you, I think I enjoyed all of the listens. I think I gave Vic Mensa and Nas a 7. And then like, I think 30 Seconds to Mars was a little bit lower than that, but still a pretty high score.
I think rating wise, I don't know exactly, but I think it went 30 Seconds to Mars, Vic, and then Nas, just because it felt very repetitive throughout the entire project. The sound isn't the problem or anything, just every once in a while it's good to switch things up. And then the one track that he did try to switch things up, I hated. So that was the only song that I didn't like.
For sure. I mean, I guess we probably don't really have too much to say about all of those. I will bring up, since we didn't get to talk about this, there was a double entendre that is one of my favorite bars of the year that I've still been listening to on the song Never Die with Lil Wayne off the Nas project, where he said, Tom Cruise flow, Top Gun, they too slow. And in my mind, like, diving into that bar was super cool to draw the parallels between Nas and Tom Cruise and like how he used that play on words specifically. because Tom Cruise is like 60 something. Nas just turned 50 recently. And the fact that they're both putting out some of their best projects, so to speak, like Top Gun Maverick being rated so highly, and then, you know, this new Mission Impossible doing so well, and then Nas putting out some of his best albums, kind of drawing those parallels to say, you know, like, I'm still at the peak even after I've been running the game for this long, basically. I thought it was super cool because it's easy to throw in like a Top Gun wordplay in a song. Like a lot of artists do that lyrically, and it's like, oh, it's cool. But like the fact that Nas can make those parallels on just a little bit upper of a level was super cool, and something that I have come to enjoy a lot from his recent stuff. So but enough of those albums, because honestly, in the hour that we talked, I don't think we said a whole lot about it. No. So we'll move on to Salt Lake Comic-Con this year, 2023, the 10th anniversary of Salt Lake's Comic-Con, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you knew that going into there. But yeah, a lot of people call it FanX. It's you know, Salt Lake Fan Expo and comic book convention. So they call it FanX, but I mean, whatever you call it, it's, you know, apples to apples to oranges to pears and plums. It's all the same thing. I've gone quite a few times. I believe this is your first time at a comic convention. I think the big names this year were Jared Padalecki from Supernatural, Charlie Cox from Daredevil, Grant Gustin, The Flash was there. Give me your initial impressions of like the convention as a whole, for people who may not have gone before.
So even before going into it, and even before you explained to me, I knew it wasn't going to be directly associated by like Marvel or DC or any big name production team, whatever it may be. I didn't really know what I was expecting other than that. So when you started explaining, like, it's a lot of like fan art or like super cool merch, one of a kind, this or that or whatever it may be. I didn't realize how much of that was going to be there. It was all just that, which was super cool. Like, you see a lot of things being distributed by these companies, and anyone and everyone can get a hold of however many they want. But then going here, you might get something that's one of 100 or however many that they want to produce. Like, it's very much their own art or their own idea. And I think that's super cool, because I like helping like the small businesses or the small artists or whatever it may be. And they have a lot of great stuff. So like, one of the things I ended up getting was a Miles Morales poster where he's doing the pose on a cab in New York. Super cool. Like, I haven't seen anything like that before, and it looks super realistic. And I think that was probably my favorite stand, just with how many different characters they had, and all of them looked super realistic. They were all super unique, and things that if I've seen anywhere, they'd be out of a comic book.
For sure. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think one of the misconceptions about things like this is you're going to walk in and there's going to be like a Marvel booth or like a Marvel section or a DC section, or like Disney's going to have a Star Wars section in there. But like, the way I feel like I kind of look at it is, you know, let's say you're a coin collector and you go to like a coin collecting convention. The Federal Reserve is not going to be there with like all their dollar bills and stuff that they printed throughout history. Like, they might send like somebody with like a rare dollar bill for you to look at or something, but they're not going to be like the people in the convention. No, it's like a fan convention, right? You're going to go and you're going to meet other fans. There's like all kinds of cosplay competitions. You're going to have some celebrities there that you can meet. But like you're saying, it's a lot of fan art. It's a lot of fan-based merch and things like that. Some trade going on, like rare things that fans have collected or that they're selling or whatever. Which is a super cool place to like kind of support local businesses like that, or connect with like people on a local level that, you know, you have similar interests with. So I think it's a super fun place to be at for that kind of thing if you're into it. I love the diversity that Salt Lake FanX provides. I feel like I don't know, from what I've heard about other big conventions, it's like, you go to San Diego for all the big Marvel news. Like
Yeah.
they're going to drop all the Marvel, trailers and that kind of thing at San Diego. But I love that Salt Lake feels very diverse in
Yeah.
terms of like your interests. If you're interested in Star Wars, it's there. If you're interested in comic books, it's there. If you're interested in supernatural, like, TV based stuff, that's going to be there as well. I mean, they were selling rare sports jerseys at a
Yeah.
place, you know what I mean? Like you just run into all kinds of cool stuff like that.
Right.
Which I think is super fun. One thing that has been interesting for this Comic-Con was the fact that it was going on right at the time of the writer's strike, which has just ended,
Right.
and the actor strike, which is ongoing at this point. But I think that provided an interesting situation for the convention. I don't think it affected a whole lot, but I think when you do have panels where you like go in and you sit down and listen to actors from a show talk about it,
Yeah.
or from a movie kind of go through, the franchise or whatever, that's like a big draw for a lot of people. And so the absence of that this year was interesting.
Mhm.
I don't know what they would have done, being as that like the big names shows are all kind of over,
Right.
or at least like, haven't been renewed or whatever. I guess, you kind of have Daredevil in the works, but
Mhm.
it's a different setup for it. But yeah, I think that provided some interesting situations for sure. For me, I will say, like, I enjoyed this one a lot. I do think it was my least favorite of the years that
Yeah.
I've gone. But there was still a lot of super cool, fun stuff that we, cool people that we met, cool fan art, like you were saying, and just a lot of good times had by all.
Yeah. I mean, so this is my first one, and it was all very enjoyable. It is something that I would like to return to, just because I feel like it could be better. I feel like I was pretty disappointed in the cosplay, which I feel like not a lot of people care to see cosplay, but like if you're into it, you'll dress up, or if you're not, you don't.
Sure.
But I was excited to see like who's gonna dress up as what. I know that a lot of fans take a lot of time and pride in doing that kind of thing, which I
Yeah.
think is super cool. And I feel like there wasn't a whole lot that I saw. There were a couple really cool costumes. Like we saw Moon Knight, we saw Iron Man.
Yeah.
Um
A moderately functioning Iron Man suit
yeah,
too at that, which was pretty cool.
right.
Yeah.
You saw like whatever that giant anime bunny thing
Oh
was,
yeah, yeah.
Mr.
I'm
Potato
not into
Head.
anime, but yeah.
Right. I don't know what
Yeah,
it is
yeah, yeah.
either, but like there were definitely a couple really cool costumes,
Yeah.
but then
The volume of that was a little low
right.
compared to what I think you'd expect,
Right.
or what I'm at least used to there.
Yeah. It definitely makes me want to go check out some other Comic Cons, like what you said, like San Diego. I know that that's a bigger named Comic Con.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, like it was super cool. We weren't able to even talk to any of the celebrities there, which was
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure.
Charlie Cox looked like just the most happy human being
Dude,
I've ever seen
looked
in
like
my
a super
life.
nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Um, there was no way to get to Jared. There was
yeah.
zero way to
Yeah.
get to him. I mean,
So,
even Grant. Like,
oh
I'm
yeah, that was
surprised that
crazy.
Grant had more of a line than Charlie did, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I mean, for frame of reference, like last year, when I went with my wife and some of my family to Comic-Con, there was a couple celebrities that we wanted to meet. One of those was Mark Shepard, who plays Crowley from Supernatural, as well as I always mess up his last name, but
yeah.
Timothy Amundsen. Anyways, the guy who plays Lassie in Psych, and he also is a character in Supernatural. I don't know if you've gotten there yet, so I'm
I
not
have
going to
not.
spoil that for you. But anyways, we wanted to go up and meet them, and at most of these booths, you can either pay for an autograph or a photo with them. I'm a very poor man. I don't have $150 to drop on a photograph with, Mark Shepard, as cool as it would be, and like as
Right.
much as I would love to do that and have that experience. But um when we got there, we were just, like went over to see if there was a chance that we could just like meet them and like, introduce ourselves and like basically like express our like fandom for the show and that kind of thing. And so last year we went over, jumped in line, talked to their managers, and they were totally understanding. We're like, hey, we're just wondering if we could meet so and so and that kind of thing. And they were like, oh yeah, absolutely. He loves meeting fans.
Right.
And they spent like a minute with us and just like dialogued about the show a little bit and about like our favorite seasons or whatever. And that was that. And it was just a super fun, cool experience.
Yeah.
So this year we're kind of assuming the same thing, and we go jump in line. At the beginning of the day, the lines were fairly long. Like when we got in Charlie Cox's line, it was pretty long. And we got up there to the front and we asked like the manager who was kind of, making sure the lines were flowing smooth, like, hey, could we just, say hi and meet him and that whatnot. And they were like, oh yeah, for sure. He's really busy signing autographs right now. Come back when the line dies down and you can, he'd be happy to. And we were like, oh, sick. We'll go hang out and come back later.
Right.
So then we come back later. There's like 5 people in line. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. Like no one's behind us, nobody's waiting on anything. Right. Let's just, he's got like several hours left in the day before he's, scheduled to be off. Let's go see if we can meet him. And they're like, oh yeah, no, you have to come back at the end of the day at like 7:00.
Yeah.
And so we were like, I think we kind of get the message, you know what I mean? And I don't put this on Charlie at all because, like I said, it seemed like a very friendly guy, a guy that I'm a big fan of. Everything that I have heard about him is he's a very, cool person. But I do think that going forward, like a meet and greet section of Comic-Con where there's time set aside for that on a specific day.
Yeah.
If the, actor's willing to do that, just having a set aside, point for that would be super cool. Cause like you're saying with Jared Padalecki, the line was nearly out the,
that was
2,000 square foot room that they have.
Bro, I didn't realize how famous these people actually are.
Yeah.
Cause and
it's not like you're in LA either. It's Salt Lake.
Yeah. Like when did Supernatural finish? I know that Jared's been a part of other projects.
2018.
So
I think. Yeah.
I mean, it's been a couple of years since like that show's ended, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna say that's probably his biggest project, especially for how long it ran. Like, I know that he's.
I would say it's for sure what he's known from. He's Walker, Texas Ranger. He plays him in the reboot right now, but I would say that's for sure his biggest.
And so, like in my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, Jared's gonna have a line, but it's probably reasonable. Yeah. No, it wasn't reasonable at all. It was as long as the line for everybody from Back to the Future. Like they were the same length, which shocked me because Back to the Future has been around forever.
40 years,
right?
Whatever.
Like, so for them to even show up, I feel like is a huge thing. That makes sense to me. I didn't even expect,
or even like the size of Grant Gustin's line. Like the Flash is a big.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, that one shocked me probably the most. Because how like Grant Gustin and Charlie Cox were right by each other, panel to panel. But Grant's line was like 3 times as long as Charlie's, and I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah,
it's not like the Flash is actually good. Like I feel like we can agree that the plot is always the same. Like there's not much diversity in it.
Yeah,
the show is basically the same every season, and it's even done. Like the show, if I'm not mistaken, once again,
it's completed.
Over.
Yeah,
Charlie Cox is Daredevil and became a part of big MCU,
and like is in like blockbuster, a blockbuster movie as Daredevil. Yeah,
I just don't get it.
I mean, to each their own. Like I said, it's kind of cool part of Comic-Con to see all these fandoms come out in full force. Like, the one that I have grown to have the biggest appreciation for the fandom of is Doctor Who. And like just growing up, like my neighborhood, my friends, and like my circle was a lot of like superheroes and like sports and that kind of thing. And that was kind of like our demographic. And if you venture off into something a little different, like you got Star Wars, Star Trek, and like those kinds of things were pretty big. But like Doctor Who wasn't really like a big thing among my friend circle.
Same.
If you go to Comic-Con, I swear 1/3 of Comic-Con is Doctor Who stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I had no idea that it was such a massive fandom, but now I have like it's like James Bond level of like how rebooted and just it keeps going. Like I mean you like James Bond's the one that comes to my mind because the character keeps getting reinvented and adjusting a little bit. But I mean, you could even look at like Star Trek or Star Wars and like all those different kinds of reboots that they're doing. It's for sure right up there with those ones. And I had like no idea. So it's super cool to see all these like fandoms come out in full force.
And I mean, even shout out to the like anime community. Like, like I've gotten into a couple shows here and there, and like it's not my favorite, but I don't have any
gripe with it.
Yeah, like it's cool. Like I'll find what I like, but they show out. Like,
oh yeah,
I didn't realize,
dude. If Doctor Who is 30%, they're like 50.
Yeah,
like half of Comic-Con's anime.
It's ridiculous. Like I feel like the most cosplay I saw was some sort of anime,
probably,
rather than anything else.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I also like with the whole Grant to Charlie thing. I'm blaming Glee because Grant's a part of Glee. I think that's why people wanted to see him. I don't think it's the Flash.
I mean, to each their own. Could be. Who knows?
Maybe he put on a concert. Maybe they knew something we didn't.
Yeah. Let's get to the funniest part of Comic-Con, though. Being is that we are, quote unquote, aspiring journalists or whatever you want to call it, with this shenanigan that we run on a weekly basis that we call the Casual Genius Podcast. We had the brilliant stroke of genius. We're gonna get into Comic-Con and have some fun conversations with people. Like, this is what we do. We love talking movies. We love talking TV. We love talking to, like, that's why we run this, is it's like a hobby of ours. Right. We're like, let's get right in there with the fandoms and like the hardcore fans, hear what people have to say. So we came in with like a couple, pretty good questions. Right. I thought, like, one of the questions we were going to ask people is like, what's your favorite movie of all time? Mm-hmm. What's the best movie of this year? Right. A very like big discussion with a lot of different topics, or different films that get brought up. And then we're going to ask them like, who's the best fictional character? Kind of like we're talking about expanding that comparison and that horizon of all these different fandoms that were shown out in full force. Right. Dude, people have no idea how to communicate.
Dude, yeah.
And let me first shout out, we talked to some folks that I actually went to high school with. I don't know if you caught that. Some folks I went to high school with, we talked to them. Super cool, group of guys. They were dressed as the cast from Napoleon Dynamite, which was funny to see. And we asked them those questions, and they actually came up with some super solid answers. I think we're playing with the audio on the clip to see if that's something that's usable. Yeah, we'll maybe get that out, maybe not. If we don't, we're really sorry if you guys hear this that didn't work out. But super cool conversation with them. So like, we'll get that one out of the way. Those guys were awesome. Then you get to people and you're like, everyone else had literally nothing to say. Like, literally nobody had an opinion.
One of the groups literally had nothing to say because they wouldn't speak.
Yeah. I get there trying to be like in character or whatever, and like that was cool, I guess, but
Yeah, but you wasted our time.
Yeah, they did waste our time. Then we get to like asking people, we're like, hey, can we interview you for this little social media series that we're doing? And they're like, yeah, for sure. I'd love to. We get up there and we're like, what's the best movie of this year that's come out this year? And they're like, I rewatched 2016's Black Panther this year, and that movie was fantastic. And you're like, what about from this year? Have you what good movies have you seen that came out this year? I don't know. I haven't seen them all yet. I don't know what to say. And you're like, you don't need to see all the movies to know what's the best one so far, man.
Bro, it was ridiculous. My favorite was speaking to Jack Skellington.
Yeah, not the real guy, the cosplayer.
Right.
Yeah.
And first of all, he wore a mask, and so it was a little iffy. Like, I don't even know if that audio is going to be good, but I really hope, because that's honestly one of the funniest moments for me.
Yeah.
Is just his answers. Because I ask him, I say, what's the best fictional character just in general? And he goes, I don't know. And I go, well, we're going to go with yourself.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know if I told you this. He said, yeah, but you said fictional. And I was like, you have a good day, sir.
You're not Jack Skellington.
You're an idiot. Yeah, they were ridiculous.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I swear that dude was like 60 years old.
Was he really?
Dude, he was
old. That
is
hilarious.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Didn't realize.
I thought he was a young gun.
Nope.
Like he was moving like a legend.
I think he was older than the Hawkeye we interviewed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, very
Dude
cool.
Sounded very old.
Interesting.
Or maybe he's just a smoker. I don't know.
Well, we'll see if we can get some of those clips that are usable out there.
Right.
But needless to say, some funny conversations were had. I think it is something that I would enjoy doing in the future.
Yeah.
If it was like, if people knew how to talk. I don't know. Maybe you have to give them the questions beforehand so they like can come up with some answers.
Right.
Maybe we'll try that in the future. But yeah, it was pretty hilarious.
See, I feel like it would have been solid if we had like, because obviously still shout out to the Napoleon group.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah,
if half of them at least knew what they were talking about, and then the other half was, you know, these random crazies,
Yeah.
then I feel like it would have been funny, but we still had good content that was like for real. But then also
Sure.
like we're gonna roast them online and that'll be out forever. But you know,
yeah,
it didn't happen that
yeah,
way.
for sure. Anyways, I think that wraps up Comic-Con for me.
Dude, I give it an A+.
Yeah, it was a fun
was cool.
time. I didn't contract COVID from Comic-Con this year, so that was awesome. Last year on the way home from Comic-Con, I was like, my throat's really like dry. I'm gonna have to get me a bottle of water when I get home. And then I was incapacitated for 2 weeks. It was rough.
Yeah, and you got that guy COVID.
No, I didn't give that guy COVID. I didn't give anybody COVID except my wife, my poor wife. Sorry about that, sweetie. Moving on. We've missed 2 weeks of new music.
Yeah.
Let's jump into a couple of those before we get to this Doja album real quick.
Let's do it.
Not a whole lot that I, really came across that I was super passionate about, but some cool songs nonetheless.
Right.
A couple that I didn't really care for. I'm gonna just say right now, the new Blink 182 wasn't very good.
Oh, I didn't even listen to it.
But let me start off because we disagreed on this artist recently. 070 Shake dropped her new single, Black Dress, and it's fantastic. Ooh. 070 Shake, Guilty Conscience singer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had a big debate about her on the last episode. Anyways, drop Black Dress, super good song, super good. She killed it. Vocally, it's very standout. The production is exquisite, to say the least.
Yeah.
A great song worth checking out.
You'll have to send me that one.
Yeah.
I need a round 2.
Okay, give her a second chance.
I don't want to hate her because anyway, that's not the point. If I go up here, I'll say the one that I sent you earlier in the week.
Oh yeah.
It's called HOV Remix. It's with all TikTok artists, but they're all, well, at least 2 of them that I know of are now pretty well known. We got Graham, Connor Price, and Nick D.
Yeah.
You weren't a huge fan of it. I, on the other hand, those are, like you said, those are my guys.
Those are your dudes, yeah.
To me, I liked the instrumental was super cool. I love seeing, especially people on a smaller scale. Like, I like to see collaboration because it's like they're not the same whatsoever. They all have very different ideas and a very different style,
sure,
with a lot of similarities at the same time. And so to see Connor have this like breakup song, and then Graham threw in some like this house party drum style instrumental, and then they all collaborated very, very well, and that's what I really like about it. So there's that one.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I think it has its solid moments. For me, the vocals just weren't like what I would come back to personally. I don't think it's a bad song by any stretch, but the next song I'll jump into is I Can Feel It by Kane Brown. Kane Brown's, I think, a unique artist in today's music scene, though I think he's a very fitting artist. Very versatile between the country and the hip hop and the pop scene. Does a lot of super cool collaborations, but he dropped this song, no features, it's just him on it. It's called I Can Feel It. Super fun. I don't think there's anything that like would make me say this is his best song or this is the song of the year or anything like that, but it's a good song. Like it's fun, it's upbeat. I like the vocals on it. I think it's just a good time song, which is something that I'll come back to from him. So.
Yeah, for sure. Another one that I really enjoyed, the only download this week from new music, which is Homicide with Black and Jesse Reyes.
Yeah.
I think is how you say your last
Mhm.
name. I wasn't going to download it until Jesse's part came on.
Yeah.
Jesse killed it.
Super good second half. Yeah.
And then kind of towards the end, when after Jesse's part and it kind of all came together, is when I fully appreciated it. Not saying that Black had a bad part or anything, but I still feel like I've heard better from him this year.
Yeah.
But I appreciate a new artist to collab with from him
Right.
that I know of. They sounded super good together. I love the instrumental. Yeah, super good song.
Yeah. I like when artists do something like this where you have the album come out, and for me it's an album I really like a lot. I think it's a very good performance for him. And then when you're going to come out with new music relatively soon after, and not just giving us more of the same, or dropping something that feels like a throwaway from the album, but doing something that you're skilled in with a fresh take on it. And I feel like he did that really well with this song. Like, he's still doing his thing, and like you're saying, it's not bad, but it's like, I've heard him do this, so what's he going to do? Throw on a fresh feature, someone who adds a unique sound that you didn't really hear on the album, to give it kind of a fresh vibe, which I really enjoy. Lil Yachty's another artist that I feel like has been doing that this year, dropping Let's Start Here, a very unique album from him, and then dropping some of his better hip hop stuff, after that. And I guess that'll segue into a song that he didn't do very good on, to me.
Is that
The Secret Recipe with J. Cole. I really liked the Tesla EP that he dropped. And then he drops this one, and it kind of adds to the EP, I guess. It's like a little fresh EP, but it's all the same stuff, just with this song. It wasn't very good.
No.
I appreciate what he's trying to do, and I do think it's a cool way to go about things. I think the flow, the instrumental, I feel like is a difficult instrumental to have a clean flow over, which I think is Lil Yachty's forte. I think when he has a beat that's very smooth, that he can have a smooth flow over. He's got a good enough voice in that term, or in that sense, and a unique voice, that he makes those smooth, buttery instrumentals and flows go really well. And this album, I think, or this song, just wasn't a very good instrumental that fit for him. J. Cole, obviously being the feature, was an interesting choice, because the man's been on a tear, killing basically everything he's been on, whether that's K-pop or a 21 Savage cut or whatever you have him on. He's going to be doing great lately. I think lyrically he still keeps that same energy on this one, or that same killer mentality, but again, it's just a weird instrumental to find him on. It's a tough instrumental. It doesn't really allow him to showcase his strengths, if that makes sense. So not something I loved. I appreciate the attempt, but
See, I agree. It's not a song I would listen to again. But I love J. Cole's part. And maybe that's me being biased or whatever it may be, but I don't know, like, the bars were definitely there.
Sure.
Yes, the instrumental was very difficult, but I think he did a lot better than what Lil Yachty did.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I mean, so that's a verse I would listen to again, not a song, but it was just, I can only do so much unique in someone. And I still give Lil Yachty the benefit of the doubt, because I have heard a lot of good from him. So I don't necessarily like hate him, or like I won't listen to him. Just, I can respect it, but then this one is like, no, this is not one I could get behind.
Sure.
But yeah, it was interesting.
Fair enough.
One that I wish was a lot better was Brand New with Tyga, YG, and Lil Wayne. I've been seeing the Lil Wayne verse for like all week. Or maybe that's too long, but for a long time, I feel like. And in my opinion, this is one of my favorite verses from Lil Wayne in a very long time.
Cool.
It's, if you look at some of the lyrics, he pops off. Some of the bars are crazy. Like, one of the lines he says is, I need my money like Riri ASAP, which I think that's a solid line.
Good wordplay.
even Eminem tweeted out like when he did the line about I need brand new O's, like a bag of Funyuns or whatever
Yeah.
it was. Even Eminem was like, why didn't I think of that? Which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's a little corny, but I mean, it's still a good line. But then I
Yeah.
feel like Tyga and YG didn't do anything. Like,
Fair
it's
enough.
still just Tyga and YG. They're still doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. I just feel like Lil Wayne easily outperformed both of them by miles, and that's upsetting because I thought that was going to be his own song. From all of the TikToks I've seen, I thought it was only
You
his.
thought it was his joint?
Yeah, and it wasn't. So
fair enough. I honestly I haven't even dove into any of that Tyga and YG album that just dropped besides the
I forgot
singles.
they
But
were dropping.
yeah, so I mean I haven't even listened to that one. But it's I guess I'll have to I have seen some of the bars floating around. I do think it's some pretty funny wordplay. It's great punchlines, which is what you go to Lil Wayne for when you want to listen to Lil Wayne. So
which sucks even more because his mixtape is out and I'm now expecting things like this, and it's not that.
No.
Lil Wayne is something else. And
yeah, let's get that out of the way. The Fix Before the Six, Lil Wayne, is not good.
No, it is not.
It's not good.
It was pretty bad.
I think there's some punchlines occasionally on it that are funny.
Right. I have to listen to the rest of it, but
yeah, I think there's some punchlines that are funny, but I've seen people saying like the GOAT is back. I've seen people saying like, oh, it's not that good. It's fun stuff, but it sounds like the throwaways from the Carter series.
Yeah.
No, it just sounds bad.
Yeah.
like when the best song on this album was Cat Food, that's a bad album. Let's call a spade, guys. It's not that good. Even if you love Lil Wayne, like I'm not the biggest Lil Wayne guy. I think the Carters are classics. I think he's got a lot of doo-doo in his discography. I think he's a little overrated in my opinion. This album might be the worst album I've ever heard him put out. It's really bad. Yeah. It's really bad.
See, I honestly
I didn't even want to hate on it like that, but I just
you got to.
I got really pressed about that for a second there. I wasn't even going to say any of that on this episode.
Yeah. It was upsetting because the very first track is this super cool little piano bit, and I got super hyped. I was like, this is about to go nuts.
He's going to do something crazy.
Bad.
Duty.
Yeah. And then even the second one, the bird song, like he did this little techno kind of bird chirp kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it didn't sound like birds, but it did. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I haven't heard something like this. This is cool to add to an instrumental. And then it sucked really bad. A lot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say about that album.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm not gonna. Lil Wayne's living rent free in my mind right now. That's how angry I am about that release. The last new song that I'll talk about is "Guitar in My Room" by Lil Durk and Kid Cudi off the new Lyrical Lemonade album.
Yeah.
First single off the album was "Doomsday."
Yeah.
Corday and Juice WRLD, one of my favorite songs I've heard this year. Thought this was an interesting collab. Lil Durk and Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
Interesting, but like a track that I was like, oh, not a collab I'd think of, but something that I think might go hard.
Yeah.
The instrumental was pretty cool, like kind of this acoustic hip hop type deal. But I think Kid Cudi was a decent pick for this one. I think Lil Durk was a little bit of a weird pick, though I think he did a pretty decent job on it. I just think there was better artists for this song is really what it came down to. It felt like the production was done and then the artists were picked and the artists didn't fit the production.
Yeah. Is
kind of in my mind how the song felt as I was listening to it. And I was like, this should have been like a Young Thug song or like, an obvious one if you're going hip hop acoustics is like Post Malone or like, something of that nature. I do think Kid Cudi does that kind of thing pretty nicely. And those are just like the ones off the top of my head, but I was like, a Kid Cudi and a Young Thug feature would have been a much better pick on this song than the Lil Durk feature, even though I think, it's a decent song. I don't think it's one I'd come back to, but I just think it could have been better executed is really what it came down to.
Right. I agree. I think it was a very interesting pick between the two. I feel like if this instrumental was sped up a little bit, I feel like Lil Durk would have fit better.
Sure.
Because I mean, if you look at like, I don't remember what the song's called. Oh, All My Life, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The one with J. Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at that, it's like not so much acoustic, but more on that pop and hip hop.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you just speed up this instrumental just a little bit, it'd be a little bit easier for Lil Durk to get a hold of it. I feel like this is definitely in Kid Cudi's range, especially now with his later music. But yeah, I felt like it was very forgettable. I didn't feel like I wanted it to be more than how I felt after listening to it.
Sure.
But yeah, I feel like after listening to it, it's just pretty forgettable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair take. For me, that wraps up new music. You got anything
The
else?
last one is the Kobe and Shaq, or Shaq and Kobe, whatever it's called. Huge disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting. But
there's so many like wordplay options that like I think of. I'm not even like a writer or a rapper at all. And there's so much wordplay that comes to my mind of like hip hop bars that you could do with Shaq and Kobe wordplay.
Yeah.
And they didn't do any. They didn't use any. And like I get that like the whole reference is like them being Shaq and Kobe together, like that's how they're gonna tag team and kill the song. But first of all, they didn't.
No.
And second of all, like not even one bar, like not even the intro opening bar or like anything, nothing.
Honestly, I'd probably give them a pass if they would have brought in some kind of like interview from them, or like,
dude, just put Shaq on the chorus. I've heard Shaq rap.
Bro, Shaq is actually not half.
I know.
Like, he's probably better than like 25% of the people rapping today.
That's probably fair. That's probably fair.
Because he's not like phenomenal, but he's like, at least has bars. Like, he has it. Yeah. I'm pro Shaq.
Pro Shaq.
I'm for him. I need a Shaq album.
Never mind.
Yeah, let's calm down.
Okay.
I don't know what you're going for, but I want to hear it.
Let's jump into what we've been listening to.
Yes.
And I'm going to start off by saying I made the greatest discovery of music that I've made in my life.
I was going to bring up.
I'm a legend for this one.
I'll give you it. This is the only time.
R&B rap duo that I've never heard of before, called They, all caps with a period. They got this new album out this year called New Moon. And the song Wait on Me features country artist Casey Musgraves.
Yep.
And I was like, first of all, this is a whole story in and of itself. Like the rabbit hole I had to go down to find this song.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'm going to spare our listeners that whole story, but this song is incredible.
Yeah.
It is so good. The vocals, the harmonies, the writing, the production, it like is unequivocally, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Top to bottom. The Casey Musgraves feature goes crazy on this R&B cut, which is interesting to me. Like not an artist that would come to my mind to put on an R&B song, though I think like, I don't know why now after I heard it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just progressively gets more and more sonically satisfying as you listen to it. By the time you're at the third chorus where all three of them are harmonizing the chorus, it's like, bro, what am I listening to?
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Super good. I think, one of the best songs I've heard all year. Easily. For sure. Shout out to this duo and the song on here. This one's fantastic. So if you haven't heard this one, you're missing out.
Yeah. Please make more music like this. Yeah. This is what we need people to strive to hit.
Yeah. 100%.
Yes.
Second song for me, I don't know if I've shouted this one out before. I might have last week on the episode that got, lost, or on the episode before that. But it's a song that I've been still listening to, so I guess I'll just throw it back in there. It's Spicy by Nas, off of the first King's Disease album.
I don't think so.
Featuring Fabio Foreign and A$AP Ferg. Oh. I think it's the closer on King's Disease, the first one, if I'm not mistaken. But just getting in the Nas, like, diving back into some of his stuff after this Magic album, I was like, song I totally forgot about. I think all three of them sound great on it. It's a fun track. All around, just an enjoyable old school style rap song with a lot of modern flair.
Right.
And the last song, a little surprising, but it's Greedy by Tate McRae. Tate McRae is a pop artist that, based on the artist that I really don't like and vibe with, I feel like people would assume she's an artist that I don't really like that much. But I think she does a lot of great stuff. I really like how unique she is vocally compared to her contemporaries. I think sonically she brings a lot of flair that they don't have, a lot of uniqueness. But yeah, this song's just a fun track. Cool. You know, and that's, I guess you could call it guilty pleasure music. It's just, you know, I think it's solid. So
boom.
Yeah.
And that's it. So you've already said my number one. It's the most beautiful track I've probably listened to this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already said it all. So I'll move on to my number two.
If you're listening to this episode and you haven't heard Wait on Me by They and Casey Musgraves, just do it. Just listen to it. It's so good.
Don't question us.
Yeah.
Just do it. The second song, I have no idea. I want to say I found it on TikTok. I feel like I've been finding pretty good music lately over there. This one's called Falling Slowly by V Willis with a Z. Willis.
Yeah.
Z. It's a cool song. It's very mellow. I would probably listen to this like driving somewhere, or if I'm like really in my feels.
Sure.
I'd listen to this. It's a cool song where it's like this dude and this girl like are hanging out, and it was supposed to be like a link up, but then it turned into like a real conversation, and now he's falling for her, like he's actually having feelings and
gotcha.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then the third song that I've been listening to a lot is Maybe by Machine Gun Kelly and
Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah. Yes. But whenever I hear that song, I think of the acoustic version that you showed me. That one's treacherous. That one's so
when all Sykes is just screaming so unnecessarily. Dude, why does he just start screaming so unnecessarily? MGK's like trying to be all heartfelt and like make it this like ballad like rock song, and then all he just gets out is screaming for no reason.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous. That song's
hilarious.
So but so I listened to the original version. It's a great song.
Yeah,
not one you have to really think about, or you just get to have a good time.
You just put it on in the gym and you're going hard, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a fun one.
It's a good party song.
Cool. I mean, we always link these down below. We'll keep doing that. I don't know if anybody listens to that playlist, to be honest with you. I don't know if it tells me anywhere. I haven't even looked. We'll keep doing it though.
Yeah, because maybe there's one person.
Maybe there's one person, or maybe it just gives me something to do with my Sunday nights.
Just a little extra something.
Yeah, a little extra sauce. Let's dive into this Doja Cat album. We dumped on pretty much every single that came out except Baloo. We both liked.
Yeah, that one was the best out of the singles.
The closer.
It wasn't bad.
I think she catfished us. I really do.
No, I think she catfished you. I think I'm on the right track.
Oh,
yes.
All right. Let's hear it. Let's hear what you have to say about this album then.
Yeah, so you texted me, or maybe you told me when we went to Comic-Con.
I think I told you.
Yeah, one of the two, whatever it was, said that she catfished us with those singles.
Yeah.
And I have to disagree.
Really?
I didn't really enjoy any of them.
Wow.
At all. There were I'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, but I disliked it probably as much as I thought I would.
So there was more pros than you expected, but like
about
like what you expected as far as negative stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, like obviously, like I have no change of feelings when it comes to Paint the Town Red and Demons.
Yeah.
They both still suck. Her third track, no, no, it's just not a song I enjoyed at all.
It was
Hate the title. Will not say the title. Why is it titled that?
I mean, did you listen to the song?
Yes.
I think you understand the title if you
It's
listen to the
stupid.
song.
It's stupid. She really thought she was going with something there.
Yeah, she thought she was onto something,
Yeah.
but it's not
She
very
was
good.
like, this is a bar and I'm gonna put it in the chorus and it'll be titled that. And I hate it.
Yeah.
Um
It wasn't even like a well executed chorus
no.
either, like vocally.
No.
No.
I feel I'm not gonna lie, almost all of these songs I felt the chorus was super weak. Like
Yeah.
there were some where like there were cool harmonies and like
Yeah. I'll disagree with you
vocals.
on Agora Hills and Can't Wait, the two more pop tracks on the album. I think she
Wait,
has
which
good
one?
choruses on those. Agora Hills
Love that one.
and
And Can't Wait.
Can't Wait. Yeah.
Love both those
Yeah.
songs. Yeah. So
They're the two most pop for sure, but I think those have the strongest choruses because she
yeah,
does pop with it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Fully agree with that. Everything else, and
Yeah.
I'm not even saying they sucked. There were a couple choruses on these songs where I was like, this isn't good. It's not well executed.
Right.
Not a fan. Other songs were like decent, but still on the weaker side. And then those two songs hit and
Fair enough.
solid song.
Fair enough.
I actually really enjoyed FTG, the fourth track.
I like that one a lot, actually.
Yeah, it was actually a solid song. I say, bro, pop off with the little side eye emoji.
Yeah.
Ouchies was decent. Like it wasn't bad. That's one of the ones where I felt like the chorus was weak. And I'm not really huge on how short the verses were.
Sure.
There's that. 97 was decently good. Not mad at it at all. Gun was dumb. Like that was stupid. Go off was lame. Shut up. Trash. Yeah, I honestly think the only ones I actually enjoyed was Agora Hills, Can't Wait, and Baloo. That's how we're saying it.
So I think generally just if
FTG, sorry.
Oh yeah. I think if I'm to make a diagnosis on your condition that you've presented to me here, I would venture to say that you generally prefer her pop stuff, maybe with a little rap flair, but like you generally prefer her pop works over when she just kind of goes hard rap mode.
I just want, because I've heard plenty of good songs where she sings and raps.
Yeah.
You know, like you do get pop, but you also get her hip hop side.
Right.
So to your whatever statement, that probably.
Okay.
Like what's hold on, let me look up what I do like because there's a couple songs. Kiss Me More is one of my favorite songs from her.
Yeah, probably her most pop track.
Yeah. Right. And then even I Like You with Post Malone. Those are two of my honestly the only two that I have downloaded at the moment. But those are two songs that I do thoroughly enjoy.
Sure.
And so like I know that she has the capability to do something like that. I don't understand where she's coming from with this album. It feels like there's a lot on her chest that she's trying to get off all in this album, which I feel like it's not hard to tell. She's talking about like this dude in some of the songs like that she really likes, whoever that might be. And those songs came out beautifully, like Agora Hills and Can't Wait. Amazing, like very, very well done. But then she talks a lot about like these haters. And to me, besides me, I don't know where the other haters are. Like, and I'm not even trying to hate because I actually do really like Doja. I just think lately she's been coming out with a lot of weak things. To me, I feel like there's too much emotion that's like coming out overworked. Does that make sense? Like, yes, it's good to have emotion, but like when there's emotion bleeding through the songs, then it's getting like, oh, like calm down a little bit. Like,
well, and I feel like kind of what you're getting at is kind of, I mean, when you're an artist and you take, I feel like people read too much into criticisms or like, you know, hate or whatever you want to call it, because I do feel like there's some parts on this album where she's like so focused on like statements or things that people have said about her. And it's like, I don't even think it was really that deep what you're talking about. I think you're making it into this and, you know, to each their own. You like, you know, everything affects, you know, people how on, you know what I mean? Like people, you can't say what's going to have the most impact on somebody. But I do think that like a lot of it is taken out of not out of context, but it's just taken too harshly by her. It's like I don't think the hate should be really taken as that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As that deep. Like when we criticize Doja, like you're saying, it's not like we're trying to hate Doja. It's just like I prefer when she does something like this. And
Right.
so like this is kind of a weird avenue. I don't really feel like it suits her the best. And then she's like, you just want to see my downfall. And it's like, no, I just enjoy the music you do this way instead of this way.
Like
Like
you're
that's
an
all
artist.
it is.
You're an artist I honestly hope does better. I want you to succeed. Like I thoroughly enjoy some of your older stuff, and you're an artist I would like to continue listening to, because to me, if she comes out with and once again, to each their own, if you like this album, good for you. Like
it's your business.
I definitely think that if you put out an album where you are showing how good you are vocally, and then a couple tracks you do go nuts off a hip hop track or whatever. Right. I think her strongest point is her vocals, and like this, I don't care if you think I'm crazy, but I definitely think she could be the best female vocalist modern, like in pop.
Interesting.
Like, I think she has that range. The only person that I could say that I can think of off the top of my head that could hit a higher note is Ariana. So cool. Like props to that. But like, I don't see anybody that could get in her way if she really taps into that and like proves it.
Sure.
But that, like I said, that's the kind of Doja I want to hear.
Yeah.
A couple hip hop tracks, like I'm cool with. I know you can rap.
Sure.
But that's just not what I got from this album.
Yeah. And that's fair enough. You know, I will say I don't think for me I'd like there's some good in the bad, and like I said at the beginning, I do think this was a little bit of a catfish for me, or at least I enjoyed a lot more within the album than as far as the singles. Like I thought I was gonna, you know, give this a 0 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10 or whatever based on the singles.
Worse than Olivia.
Yeah, worse than any album I've heard this year. But I listened through it and I didn't find that much that I hated. I think it certainly has its negatives, definitely, but I really like that it showcased a lot of that diversity vocally that you're talking about, and what makes her stand out from her contemporaries, that not only can she hit those high notes, but she can also do these raspy, choppy rap flows and back that up. And like, you know what I mean? Some artists don't really have that ability to switch back and forth and do that on her own song, which I think was really cool. I feel like Baloo is a big example of that, where she's kind of spitting these like melodramatic, angsty flows, and then kind of hits with that high, sassy, like sarcastic chorus on the song. I think is really good. Agora Hills is kind of the same thing. She's kind of rapping and chopping at some places, and then the chorus is a lot of beautiful melodic stuff. I think she showcased a lot of diversity that her contemporaries don't showcase on their albums very often, which was cool. I also think it's a really well produced album. Like I don't think agree. I'm not going to say it's Utopia good, or that it's, you know, Scaring the Hose good, or anything like that, but it's well produced. It's not like she's rapping over trash beats. Like London on the Track does a great job on the songs that they're on. There's a couple other producers that I'm forgetting, but I feel like it showcases a lot of good production for an album that she marketed as like, I'm going back to rap, like I'm gonna, you know, be rapping this whole album or whatever, and she picked really good beats to do that on. I also really like that it's like kind of tongue in cheek. It's funny at a lot of perspectives, and it's not trying to be something that it's not, you know, where she's talking about, this is going to be my rap album, I'm going back to just hardcore rap. You know, she's not trying on this album to be the lyricist of Kendrick Lamar or Eminem or even Nicki Minaj or whatever. Like, no, she's just trying to be sarcastic and funny, which is her MO. Like, it's what she's good at, but she's going to do it on a rap song now with a rap flow. So I appreciated that she's not going out of her way to do something that isn't her, if that makes sense. I do think it has its downfalls for sure, though. And I've talked a lot about how she marketed this album as this big return to rap, and I'm going to be rapping this whole time. And if you look at like most of the tracks that are popular right now, none of them are really rap songs. Like Paint the Town Red has some rapping on it. Right. But like, if you're going to call Paint the Town Red a rap song, like you better call every Post Malone a rap song, which I wouldn't do. Like I wouldn't say that Paint the Town Red is a rap song, or like, you know, I think it's fine to have rap in a pop song.
Yeah.
But let's just call a spade a spade. It's not a rap. It's not like this album that she marketed it to be, if that makes sense. And so like, but anyways, that's not really a downside. I just don't really think it's what she marketed the album as.
Right.
I do agree. I feel like it's really streaky on a song-to-song basis, and even within the songs. Like there's good parts. There's parts that I'm like, oh, this is pretty good, you know. On FTG, I think the, you know, raps are really good. Even on Paint the Town Red, which is a song that I hate, I think there's some good stuff in there. Like I really like the sample flip. I like the production. I like some of her flows on it. But then the annoying chorus that is on every TikTok comes in. I said what I said. No, it's annoying. There's nothing good about that. It's not good.
Shut up.
Yeah. We just need a sound button of that from you.
I'll look into it. I have a beat pad for it. I can do it. Figure it out.
Anyways, I think like, you know, there's, and Ouchies is another example where it's a good song, but the chorus isn't nearly as strong as the verses are. So it's a really streaky album. It also uses a lot of heavy influence from other sources, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing, but for me, it's something that I value a lot in music is if you're going to do something original, or at least do something that's as good or better if you're going to go in the same lane.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know that she does that. I think she does pretty well by incorporating so much diversity, which is cool. And I'll give her props for that. But I'm worried that it'll be perceived as like this groundbreaking album. Oh, she's clapping back at the haters. She doesn't care that she's, you know, doesn't fit the narrative and that she's, you know, not who's supposed to be a pop star. Like that narrative has been written time and time again in these rap albums. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that narrative, and I'm fine with Doja taking that narrative. I just worry that audiences will hear that and be like, she's, you know, this is what she's talking about, and you're the kind of people that are, you know, she's rapping about on this album. And it's like, great, if she's rapping about, you know, me as a hater or whoever you want to call a hater, that's fine. But let's, you know, that's not like a new stance. Like people have done that time and time again. Even if you're talking musical influence, I feel like on FTG, that song's very Marshall Mathers LP era Eminem style. Even in like the concept, you can't tell me Eminem would not drop a song with that song title
absolutely
and rap like that over that beat. Like that's very MMLP era. Ouchies even has a lot of Kendrick Lamar inflections, reminds me of a lot of like something from an Untitled Unmastered era, or maybe To Pimp a Butterfly. And like I'm saying, it's cool that she showcases that she can do those kinds of things. I'm just worried that people are going to hear this and be like, whoa, this is so, you know, no one's done this. And it's like, no, let's calm down. People have done it. People have done it better. People have done it before her.
Just not her. She
hasn't done it yet. And that's cool that she's doing it. But like, let's you know, temper our expectations. Let's put it in context a little bit.
It's funny because we've already gotten those comments.
I know. I know. Believe me, you. There's also some cringy stuff. Attention in general is just kind of a cringy song. I think at times Can't Wait, which is a song I enjoy, gets a little weird with like how infatuated she is with the guy. Again, not necessarily something that's inherently bad, but when you don't relate, cringy isn't funny. It's just cringy.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have something you're about to pull up and say from this album that's really cringy.
And it is from one of my more liked songs. It's from Agora Hills, but she says, like Fortnite, I'm gonna need your skin.
Wow. Wowie.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Yeah, that's a little odd.
Yeah, I listened to it 4 times.
That gives me some Hannibal Lecter vibes. Silence of the Lambs.
It was ridiculous.
Anyways, I do have one thing that I want to shout out, because I don't know if you caught this. We received the very rare triple entendre in this album.
Did we?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
I didn't write down what song this is on.
I was closing my eyes. I was ready to like really think about this.
Yeah, I don't know what song this was on. I think it's either on Ouchies or FTG.
Okay.
She says, "100 Billies, I'm the goat, no Eilish." So if you look at this, it's the triple entendre, right? Three things, three meanings. You've got the straightforward meaning. 100 Billies, like she wants $100 billion, right? She wants all that money. And she's like, being braggadocious, saying, I'm the GOAT, right? I'm the greatest. The second level is also pretty obvious. You've got the Billie Eilish level, right? 100 Billies, like I want $1 billion, and no Eilish, like I'm the GOAT, no Eilish. I'm not, Billie Eilish, like kind of playing on Billie Eilish's name, pretty obvious, right? The third one is
the Billy
Goat, right? Yeah. The Billy's the type of goat. I have a lot of respect for that. Super cool. Love the wordplay. I also like that it, again, when something is like that, but it's relevant, I think it makes it all the more cool. Like, people can make plays on Billie Eilish. Heck, there's a song by Armani White about Billie Eilish. Yeah. But I like that she kind of uses that, like you're saying, to say, I'm the best in the female rap game right now. I'm not Billie Eilish, like Billie Eilish, one of the people who's being considered one of the best female artists right now, saying like, I'm, on her level where, she's the GOAT, like kind of those kinds of things. I don't know if, like, I guess you could consider it a slight at Billie Eilish. I think she's kind of shouting her out a little bit, but
I mean, it's kind of like almost the exact same thing on J. Cole's feature where he's like, I'm not Drake. I don't have that kind of a,
I don't have the Drake effect where the song goes _1 if I'm on it, but take what you can get.
Right. I'm still him. Yeah.
Anyways,
that is impressive.
Cool.
I do give props when props is due. That's not an easy thing to do.
The triple entendre is rare. It's difficult.
That's ridiculous. And it's not even cringy. Like it's
just a good bar.
Yeah, it's a good bar. Yeah.
No. I will say it made me wish there was a Billie Eilish feature on it though. Billie Eilish, I feel like has a lot of range too, and also does like those funny, quirky kind of songs with also some beautiful vocals and some interesting production. I feel like they could have done something cool together.
Bro, if they ever made a song together, I'd be frightened. Because Billie Eilish already frightens me.
Yeah. I feel like they'd make something really weird.
Yeah, it'd scare me.
Yeah.
It'd give me nightmares.
It might go hard though. It might.
Maybe, but I wouldn't be able to listen to it more than once a year.
It'd probably be really cringy and weird, but it might go hard too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Billie scares me so much.
Best song on the album. What you got?
So I forgot to write any of this down.
That's okay.
But I would probably either go Agora Hills or FTG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I also had Agora Hills in there. I think it's a little it feels a little like a money grab for me. Like it just doesn't fit the album super well.
Yeah.
I really like the song.
Right.
I just wish it would have fit the album better. Or Ouchies. I also really liked Ouchies, but I don't love the chorus on that one.
Right.
But it's still a good song. I'll probably come back to that one a fair amount. For me, so the worst song is Attention. It's just cringy. I don't like the raps on it. I don't like the production on it. I think it's really bad. Again, like I get, it's important to her and, feeling like, however she's feeling is, it's your business. It's cool, but I don't like the song.
Yeah. For worst song, I'm either going Paint the Town Red, or sorry, not Paint Town, sorry, Demons, or Shut Show.
Demons was in the running for me too.
Yeah. I just really didn't like Shut Show.
Yeah. The most underrated song for me was FTG. It's not doing the numbers that the other ones are.
Yeah.
But I think it's for sure one of the best rap performances on it.
Right.
The chorus is like, pretty bland. There's nothing special about it, but I think just sonically it matches the tone, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's for sure not getting the recognition that much worse songs on the album are getting.
Yeah. For underrated, I'd probably either go Can't Wait or 97.
97's not bad.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. I mean, like, besides, because to me that it has a pretty weak chorus, but other than that, like, it's a solid song
for sure.
So
I feel like this is where we're going to be very drastically different though. What did you give this album out of 10 if you had to give it a rating?
I gave it a 5.
Wow.
Like, If any lower, it wouldn't even be like by 0.5. Like I'd probably go like a 4.8 if anything, or if
Wow.
any higher, probably like
I
a
was expecting you to say
5.2.
like 3.
No, because like if I actually look at it, I enjoyed more songs off this one than I did Olivia's.
Okay.
Like I
Yeah.
found two
Same.
that I liked Olivia's, and I
Yeah.
think I gave her a 4 or something like
Yeah.
that. I
Something
want to
of the
say.
sort. Yeah.
If I gave her anything higher than a 5, I'd probably switch Doja's and hers because I found what 3 to 4 songs. So
Sure.
respectfully, I give her a higher score.
Okay. Cool.
Plus, I think I like Doja more as an artist in
Yeah,
general. I
it's
think
more
he
your
makes
kind of music.
better music. Yeah.
Sure. I give it a 6.
Oh.
6 out of 10. So right in the
Yeah.
ballpark. I think it's far from the best album of the year,
Yeah.
but it might be my favorite Doja album, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to go listen to her discography because I haven't.
Yeah.
So
I think it's her best. I think it's her most consistent.
Mm.
I think I prefer a couple songs on other albums just as like what I would say her best songs are, but I
yeah,
think it might be
as
her
an
best album.
album. Yeah. That's cool.
Um,
I just hope for the best for Doja.
Yeah.
I do want to see better music,
Yeah.
in my opinion, of course. Because I know she has capabilities to
Right.
do
That's
so.
that's what I think the most disappointing thing about all of this is to me is that she showcases how great she can be.
Mhm.
I just personally in like my musical preference, I wish she would get there. Like
Yeah.
hit me with all that diversity, but make it really cohesive, really well built up, and then put it out as this like
Yeah.
really good album. I think she could do it.
I feel like that's today's musicians. Like they showcase their best and then give us not that. Like you have
Sure.
Doja, you have the Kid Leroy, you have Ian Dior, you have 24K Golden.
Yeah.
Like 4 artists that very well could easily be like the next generation big pop artists.
Sure.
And they're
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
number wise, they probably are, but
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at least for me, they're not.
Yeah. In quality terms, for
Yeah.
sure not. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well said.
Thank you.
Anything else about Scarlet by Doja Cat before we wrap up?
I still want to know why it's 2 ticks.
Dude, the more I look at it, I think they're spiders.
No,
I think the legs are spider-like.
but the nose is tick.
Right. It's the body that makes me think tick, but like it's not a real body. It's like pearls, right?
I don't know, but somebody got mad at us for calling them ticks because they were spiders. But here's the thing: like I've seen plenty of ticks because they're like I don't know
New
if they're
England. Yeah, they're
all
over in
I
New
was even
England.
gonna say Texas when I lived out there.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
lots
dude,
of
you got
ticks.
big ticks out there.
So
Yeah.
like I knew what ticks looked like. So the reason why I was confused is because of the legs.
I think the legs are a little long.
Body.
The body is what makes me think they look like ticks, like
Maybe
the head.
is it both? Maybe,
Dude, maybe
like,
it is.
ticks with spider legs.
She's
That'd be
hybridizing.
terrifying.
Dude, it's the levels of the album. The pearl is the good choruses, like those beautiful vocals, and then the spider is like the hardcore rap flows, and then the tick nose is like the cringiness, like you just don't want it there. Dude, there's so many levels to this album.
She's a genius.
Doja Cat is the smartest person.
9.5 out of 10 album.
It's automatically a 9 now. I'm withdrawing my score. It's a 9 out of 10. Anywho, I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
You can always check us out on social media.
Yeah.
We have some clips that I think are kind of funny.
We'll be back.
We'll be back with
strong.
the socials after this episode with some more stuff. We're gonna try to get those Comic-Con clips up if the audio works.
Yes, I'm gonna.
It was very loud at Comic-Con, so I'm
just happy the mics worked.
Yeah, and
those mics were good.
If I had to sum up the Fix Before the Six by Lil Wayne, it's that Lil Wayne is a very, very horny man who occasionally has some good wordplay. I think that's all I have to say about that. Check out the duo They have great songs. THEY, all caps with a period.
Yes.
Great duo. Yes. Check them out.
Lil Wayne is just making my case for calling him a phenomenal feature artist more and more. Like real.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyways.
We'll be back next week, probably talking Ahsoka. season 1 and Drake's new album For All the Dogs. If that man ever drops the album, it's been pushed back like 3 times now, so I don't know if it's coming out.
Right. He saw our post. I guarantee you, he wants to ruin our schedule more and more.
Dude, anytime we try to come up with like something cohesive, everything changes. Yeah. Some fun stuff coming up in the future. So we'll be back. I'll be back. Gotta chase the pump. Once you do the bench press, then you gotta do the incline press. Then you gotta do the dips for the striations. You just gotta chase the pump.
I hope Arnold watches this. Oh. Oh. I did it in the meeting. They heard that.